All right, so it's been a while since we've done something Hollywood inspired, so I thought we'd go ahead and do that this week. And this week comes from a movie that came out not too long ago. It's called Hairspray. And I don't know if anybody saw it. I did not. It didn't really interest me. But what did catch my attention was the movie poster. And it was a very interesting effect of kind of a colorful background against each character, and it had a pattern behind it and everything like that. Really quite simple, and that's what we're going to create in Photoshop here today. So let's begin by creating a new document. I'm going to go into the File menu, go to New, and I'm going to create a very small document. We're going to do a 2 by 2 inch at 75 pixels per inch. RGB, let's go and click OK. So there is the file. So now what I want to do is, this is just going to be the base of the pattern that we're going to create. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new blank layer to start with. And I'm going to grab the elliptical marquee tool. I was going to say circular. It's really the same thing, but. And we're going to go inside the document. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and the Option key. That would be Shift Alt on a PC. And I'm just going to draw this circle out. Not too big, but not too small. And we'll go with right about there. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it with black. I'm going to press Option Delete since black is set as my foreground color. Deselect. I'm going to go ahead and select all. Let's do a Command or Control A. And I want to align this dead center of my document. So let's just align that. So now the circle is in the center. So let's create a duplicate of this layer. I'm going to hold down the Option and hold down the Shift key and just drag this at an angle to this side here. And it will basically snap right to the center is what I want it to be. The center of the circle, I want it to be right inside, or right in that corner area. If we press Command or Control T, you can see it's not quite there yet. So we'll just kind of nudge that there. And again, we'll do the same thing with these others. Hold on the Option and the Shift, and we'll drag this up. And we'll just go all the way around the document, making sure the center is in there. So if you just press Command or Control T, you can see that the control handles are right aligned with it. So this is the base of our pattern. So what we're going to do is turn off our background layer so we can have the transparency back here, because I only want to define these circles as my pattern. I don't want the white background. So now let's go into the Edit menu, go down here to Define Pattern. Click OK, and we are done defining the pattern. I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. I'm not going to necessarily close it, because you never know when you might have to come back to it. And here I have a document already set up that we're going to create this background on. And let's first start by filling it with a background color. Let's go and into the swatches panel. I'm going to grab this green color right here and press Option Delete. And it will go ahead and fill that color in. Let's go ahead and create a new blank layer above that one using that same green color and the gradient tool, as you can see here. Going to go from green or foreground to transparent. And I'm going to change the blend mode of this layer from normal to multiply. And I'm just going to come in from the top, holding down the Shift key to come in a little bit, and then again from the bottom coming in. So we get a nice variation of the green here. Well, I want to make this area down here a little bit lighter as well. So let's go in here and create a new blank layer above that one. And we're going to set white as the foreground color. And we're just going to use that same gradient using the foreground and transparent, but I'm going to use the reflected gradient this time. And just drag this up like that. Now let's make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to change this to overlay. So it gives me a little bit brighter green area in there. And I like doing these kind of gradient elements on their own layers because it gives me that control over this. So I can control these, and if I don't like it, I can delete it and just start all over again. But now let's go ahead and create a new blank layer. And let's put it at the top of the layer order here. And I'm going to press Shift Delete. And I don't know why I closed it there. We're going to use 50% gray because we're going to apply the pattern as a layer style. And I like to do it that way because I can control the overall scaling of the pattern. So you can double click on this layer and open up the layer styles window, and we're going to pattern overlay. Click on the pattern menu, and we're going to look for the very last item, which should be the pattern that we just defined, and you'll notice that it is tiling in there, and we're getting a nice arrangement of circles there. So all we need to do is take the scale slider and just slide this down until we get the size that we desire. And you can also move this panel out of the way and actually move the pattern around if you want to center it a little bit more. And I'm going to take that size down a little bit more. Let's take it to about 25. More like 30, actually. And we'll just position this up a little bit. Right about there. I think that looks good. So, and again, it's a layer style. We can always go back in there and change that if we want to. So, what I want to do now is I'm going to change the blend mode of this layer from normal to overlay. And you'll notice it's not giving me what I want. Those circles are still staying black, and that's because it is a layer style. What you need to do is go back into that layer style window, just double click on that layer, and this item right here, blend interior effects as a group. Check that item on, click OK, and now when we change the blend mode, it blends a little bit better, as you can see right there. And you can try different blend modes to see what kind of different effects you ultimately want to achieve. Actually, I think soft light works pretty good there. And I'm going to go ahead and apply a layer mask to this layer because I want to kind of lessen the effect here in the center where that lighter area is. So let's grab our gradient tool, again using that reflected gradient, but this time using black as the foreground color. Because we're on the layer mask, we want to hide this area. And let's draw that angle up a little bit. This gives me an interesting angle there. I could probably come in from the bottom a little bit, just giving a little bit of a fade, and perhaps even from the top. Kind of gives me an interesting fade there. So now all I really need to do is just add a photo element, which I've got here in this group. If I simply activate this, you can see that I've got a subject with an outer glow around it, ultimately giving me a really interesting background effect, just like on the Hairspray poster. So give it a try yourself, have fun with it, and remember, using layer styles, much more forgiving than actually applying a texture fill right directly to a layer, because even though this is all done, I can still go inside this pattern overlay and change it. I can change the size. Maybe I want to make it smaller, giving it a much more fine look. Making it really big. Can move this pattern around. Just gives me a lot more freedom to do very, very interesting effects.